fear the deer. Fear the deer. And at this point, I think our guy Artez, who works at that soul food restaurant in Milwaukee, and he's making the food right now, I think Artez could do a better job coaching and possibly even playing for the Bucks than what's going on right now, because the Bucks are doing a belly whopper, and this is always great talk radio. A team with headline stars, a team that is supposed to be stacked, and they're underachieving. The Bucks, the last night before the All-Star break, the Bucks lost to the lowly and shorthanded Grizzlies. Game played on Thursday night. The Bucks worked their way back. It was a close game at the end, but they lost. So Doc Rivers then dropped, for us, the money quote, the quote of the night. And I have a love-hate relationship with Doc Rivers. I hated him when he coached the Lob City Clippers because they should have won 2 championships in that era. And they won none. They didn't even get to a Final Four with Doc Rivers as the coach. And so, but in terms of content, and I actually knew Doc when he played for the Clippers, which is even more awkward. But in terms of the content Doc has provided me over the years, it is gold. It is content gold. So I thank him for that. So it's a love-hate thing. But if you didn't hear this latest quote from Doc, it's outstanding. So the Bucks have just lost to a team that is playing out the string for all intensive purposes, the Grizzlies, because of injuries and whatnot. And Milwaukee loses the game, and Doc Rivers said, quote, "We had some guys here, some guys in Cabo." He told the reporters. All right, so let us discuss the question. You are the owner of the basketball team there in Milwaukee. How are the Bucks owners feeling right now about that Doc Rivers move? So I've got Irish Spring, smelling salts, and Aristotle. And we will connect things that have never been put together like this together. And we are going to pump the brakes on all the nonsense is what we're going to do. So first of all, after getting Dame Lillard from Portland, Milwaukee became the popular pick by popular people. And I'm not going to distance myself. I was on the train, the trendy train with the Milwaukee Bucks. It made all the sense in the world. You have Dame Lillard, who's a great player, an assassin with the Trailblazers, and you put him with Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has lacked that assassin in his game, right? He famously had a meltdown after the Bucks lost in the playoffs last year, and said, like, wins don't matter. I forget exactly the quote. I can look it up. But it was an outrageous quote, and it was a bad look and all that. Well, Dame Lillard doesn't do that kind of stuff. So anyway, the Bucks got off to a good start, not a great start, a good start. They had one of the top records in the Eastern Conference, and they fired their coach, Adrian Griffin. Turns out he was not the problem, but they fired him anyway because they perceived like the team wasn't good enough to win a championship. So we know they hired Doc Rivers, and that was the F word. Foolish. It was the F word. Doc Rivers coach teams, I can sum them up in one line. Doc Rivers coached basketball teams in big moments are like flatulence. They're silent but deadly when it matters most. And while we appreciate the honesty of Doc Rivers, nevertheless, small sample size, but you are what your record says you are. And the Milwaukee basketball team is 3-7 with Doc Rivers coaching them. They have players who Doc himself is admitting have checked out for a nice tropical getaway. And that's fine, but that's embarrassing. If you own the team, it's embarrassing. Like, what are we doing here? Like, seriously, what are we doing? And yet again, a Doc Rivers team is going to need some Irish Spring to cover up that body odor for the playoffs. I was actually texting one of my buddies who covers the NBA a lot more than I do. And we were going back and forth, and he was explaining that the biggest problem with the Bucks is Dame Lillard is getting divorced, and it's screwing up his game. That he can't, this is such a big thing, and it's a big thing when you get divorced, right? It's a lot of stuff you got to deal with, and it's a messy situation for all involved, right? And so Dame's going through a divorce, and he has been unable to compartmentalize the stuff off the court with the stuff on the court. And he pretty much admitted that. It's not like it's a secret. He admitted that a while back. Now, turning the page. Headline from the Great Salt Lake, where the Jazz were playing the Warriors. Now, this is a huge story to me I know our news department apparently tonight does not think it's that big a story, but the dynamic duo over the last decade in the NBA, and maybe I'm wrong on this, I don't know, I just do the overnight show, but the two dynamic duo players were Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. We know Klay Thompson has fallen on hard times. He's a shell of what he had been, but he was still starting every game for the Golden State Warriors. Well, Golden State benched Klay Thompson for the game against the Jazz on Thursday. It's kind of a big deal. You see, Klay Thompson, last time he was healthy and did not start a game was 12 years ago. For the last 12 years, either he's played and started or he hasn't played because he was hurt. But that was his rookie year, 2012, the last time Klay Thompson did not start a game. So what are your thoughts on Steve Kerr benching Klay Thompson? So I have a couple theories on this. Now, I believe it was a direct result of the brain fart he had against the people's team, the Clippers. Klay made the ultimate dumb play, the low basketball IQ play, when he fouled Russell Westbrook when Golden State had hit a money ball. They were down by 3 in the final seconds. And Steve Kerr had a very public hissy fit, had his hands on his head. He had all the gyrations on the sidelines. It was like a vaudevillian comedy act because you had Klay Thompson foul. Behind Klay is Steve Kerr, dramatically running and putting his hands on his head like he was so disgusted. But I'll tell you this, it worked wonders. Now, Brandon Podziemski started for the Warriors, and he played okay, and he's been better, believe it or not. A guy who's got kind of goofy name to say, Brandon Podziemski, but he's been better than Klay Thompson. But that benching was like pungent smelling salts. Either that or the fact that the Jazz blow, but it was a wake-up call. It was varnish remover. And wowzers, Klay Thompson, coming off the Warriors bench, had 35 points, 7 of 13 from the money ball land. And these are the ups and downs, and that's how it's going to be. Klay Thompson likely going to leave Golden State unless he takes a dramatic pay cut. He'll be on some other team next year. And we've talked about this a lot over the years. He's a falling star. Do not let a falling star fall on you. Do not do it. All right, final thought. Headline, we go to Denver, where the reigning NBA champion Nuggets only have one more All-Star than the Fox Sports Radio basketball team. They only have one All-Star representative, and that is the two-time regular season MVP Nikola Jokic, the Joker. And I bring this up because Aaron Gordon, you might not know who that is because he's not a household name, but he plays for the basketball team in Denver. He believes, he said, quote, it doesn't make any sense for this to happen, that the Nuggets, after winning the championship, only have one All-Star on the team. Now, Gordon went on a mini rant, although he did not say, he didn't say too much that was outrageous, and he couched it at the end by saying that it's peanuts to an elephant was the way he couched it. But he didn't say it doesn't make any sense. So thumbs up or thumbs down, are the Denver Nuggets getting a raw deal from the NBA All-Star voters, the All-Star game? So I'm going to go a thumbs down on this. I'm going to go thumbs down, and this is an unpopular opinion, but to me this is a feather in the cap of the Nuggets. The players don't want to hear it. The coaching staff doesn't want to hear it. But it is a testimonial of the teamwork. And let me make my pitch to you why that is. In the words of the great Greek philosopher Aristotle, if he were analyzing the Denver basketball team, here's how he would describe the Denver basketball team. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And the fact that the Nuggets won a championship, have a really good record again this year, one of the top records in the Western Conference. They've been neck and neck with Minnesota, the Clippers, and Oklahoma City. But when working together, there is harmony in the Rocky Mountains. Right? Things are going very well. And as for the peanuts to an elephant line, which Aaron Gordon said at the end there, it's a good line. And contrary to popular belief, elephants do not eat peanuts. That myth, and it's been in a lot of movies and cartoons and things over the years, but it originated back in the circuses. The great massive circuses that had elephants and tigers and all the different animals before now. Now it's a true dog and pony show at the circus. Now they have humans flying around. That's about it. But back in the 19th century, and they were trying to sell peanuts to get people to buy peanuts, and in a marketing stunt to get people to buy peanuts, they would feed some of the peanuts to the elephants like they're so good the elephants are eating them. But in reality, elephants don't actually eat peanuts unless somebody at the circus throws them in their mouth. That's it. They eat like plants and fruit and bark and crap like that.